I had this moment the other day that I honestly just can't stop thinking about. Yeah, I was driving and listening to this sort of new pop playlist, and I swear I went through maybe 5 songs in about 10 minutes.
Right.
So I checked the display on my dash, and every single track was clocking in at I don't know, maybe 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, the classic blink and you'll miss it era of pop music.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the length either. It felt like the songs were just starting right at the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
There was no build-up at all, no intro. And then I realized something else while I was sitting there. I haven't seen a commercially successful band like a traditional group of people actually playing instruments together on the charts in ages.
It's been a while.
It has. And it really made me wonder, is this just me getting older and, yelling at clouds? Or has the actual architecture of the music changed right under our feet?
It is definitely not just you.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And I can promise you, it's not just nostalgia either. What you're hearing, the shortness, that weird structure, the lack of bands, it is the result of a massive structural overhaul of the entire music ecosystem.
Wow.
Yeah, we aren't just looking at, new genres coming into fashion. We are looking at this wild intersection of AI optimization, basically high-frequency financial trading applied to art, and the complete fragmentation of culture itself.
Which, that sounds incredibly intense for a discussion about why pop songs are short now.
It is intense.
Yeah.
Because the machinery behind the song is now arguably way more complex and definitely more engineered than the actual song itself.
Right. So that is our mission for today's deep dive. For everyone listening, we are pulling back the curtain on the modern music machine.
And the sources we have today are just...
They are kind of mind-blowing.
Truly.
We're looking at some heavy technical analysis of AI hit prediction tools, which honestly feels straight out of a sci-fi novel to me. Plus, we've got these detailed reports on music tokenization from Zonix, an incredible interview with industry legend Kevin Liles, and some really deep data analysis on chart trends from Luminate and Billboard.
So we are basically going to connect all these dots for you.
Yeah.
We'll explain why your new favorite song might be engineered for one specific 60-second window, why you might soon literally own a percentage of the track you're streaming, and the big one, why we might never see a massive, sweeping musical revolution like punk or grunge ever again.
Let's start with the engineering side of things, because when I was reading about algorithmic optimization in our notes, I just assumed we were talking about Spotify recommending songs to you.
Right, the recommendation algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. But you're talking about how the songs are actually written in the first place.
I am. This is basically the Moneyball moment for music composition.
Okay.
In the past, the process was you write a song, you play it for a producer, you hope it has that magic spark, and you put it out there. It was all gut instinct. Now, before a song even hits the public, it's very often run through tools like Sonoteller.ai or Skywork.ai.
And just to be clear, these aren't just playing the song for a digital focus group.
No. These are AI systems specifically trained to dissect the audio file itself.
Right.
They break it down into thousands of tiny data points. And the absolute most critical thing they are looking for is something called the golden minute.
The golden minute, which sounds exactly like a game show.
It does sound like a game show.
Break down what that actually means for a listener. What is the golden minute?
So think about how music is actually discovered today. It's not really radio anymore.
No.
It's TikTok. It's Instagram Reels. It's getting a sync placement in the background of some popular Netflix show.
Right, people scrolling on their phones.
Exactly. Those platforms, they don't need a 4-minute sonic journey. They need a 60-second hook.
Just get straight to the point.
Right. So these AI tools identify the most impactful segment of a track, usually the chorus or maybe a specific beat drop, and they grade it on its potential to go viral in that specific 60-second window.
So the computer is effectively telling the songwriter, hey, don't bore us with the verse, get to the viral part immediately.
Precisely. It is all about efficiency. But it gets even more granular than just finding the hook. Sonoteller, for instance, analyzes these crazy metrics like lyric readability and something called rhyme saturation.
Rhyme saturation, that just sounds so clinical, like they're grading a math test instead of a poem.
It does sound really cold, but the data behind it is super compelling. They've identified that high scores in rhyme density, which is literally just how many rhymes you can pack into a single bar, correlate directly with lower skip rates on streaming services.
Wait, really? So more rhymes literally equal less skipping?
Yes. The underlying theory is that if the brain is constantly stimulated by a rhyme, That predictable sonic pleasure, it just stays engaged if there's a lull. Or if there's a moment of wandering melody where it doesn't resolve right away. You just click next.
That is wild. And it really changes the incentive structure completely, doesn't it?
Entirely.
You aren't writing for emotional expression or storytelling anymore. You're writing to prevent someone from moving their thumb 1 inch to the right.
You're writing for discoverability. And that leads directly into why the songs sound the way they do now. We looked at that analysis from the music discussion forums regarding the Billboard Hot 100, and it validates exactly what the AI is pushing for.
Which connects right back to my observation in the car.
Yeah.
The 2-minute and 15-second phenomenon.
Yep. It's pure economics. We actually call it streamnomics.
Streamnomics.
Yeah. If you are an artist today, you get paid per stream. But the platform usually counts a stream after just 30 seconds of play.
Okay, so once you hit that 30-second mark, cha-ching.
Exactly. Now, let's say a fan listens to your music for 10 minutes. If your song is 4 minutes long, think something epic like Bohemian Rhapsody, they listen twice in that window.
So you get paid for 2 streams.
Right. But if your song is 2 minutes long, they can listen 5 times in that same 10 minutes.
Oh.
That is more than double the revenue for the exact same amount of listener time.
So the system is literally paying you more to be brief. It's entirely quantity over duration.
It strongly incentivizes the loop. And it's not just the length either, it's the actual structure. Have you noticed what else is missing in modern pop? We talked about the intros being gone, but there's another casualty.
The bridge.
Yes.
The middle 8. That part about 2/3 of the way through a song where the whole vibe changes.
The death of the bridge. Because traditional songwriting was always verse, chorus, bridge, which is that shift in perspective or melody, a little breather, and then back to the massive final chorus.
The bridge was the journey.
Exactly. But in the streaming era, the bridge is a danger zone.
Because it sounds different from the rest of the track.
Because it's a moment where the listener's attention might drift. The pattern just changed. It requires patience to see where it goes.
And we have no patience.
The data says we absolutely do not. Some producers just cut it.
That is honestly kind of tragic. Some of the best moments in music history are the bridges.
I agree.
But I guess now pop just prioritizes a vibe. It's texture and atmosphere over linear storytelling.
Right. It's about establishing a mood instantly and holding it without any variation. You don't build up to a climax anymore. You just start at the climax and ride that wave until the timer runs out.
Which brings us to the other big trend from the charts you mentioned earlier, the disappearance of the band.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I was looking at the UK charts for the 2020s in our notes, and it's stark. Aside from Little Mix or a legacy act like the Beatles releasing a remaster or something, there are almost no groups at the top.
Almost none.
It is all solo names. Why is that? Do people just hate collaboration now?
Well, I don't think they hate collaboration. In fact, solo artists collaborate constantly on features.
True.
But the business unit of the band is an absolute nightmare for modern labels.
Is it really just the cost?
It's risk management. Think about the overhead of a 4-piece rock band. That is 4 separate egos to manage.
Right.
4 plane tickets for every single tour stop. 4 hotel rooms. 4 mouths to feed. And critically, you are splitting the royalty check 4 ways.
That makes a lot of sense. If you're a solo artist, you get the whole pie.
Exactly. From a label's perspective, investing in a band is a high-risk, low-margin portfolio.
Right.
A solo act, it's agile, it's way cheaper. It's essentially lean startup methodology applied to rock and roll.
It's just so much easier to pivot a solo artist than a democratic group of 4 people arguing over a bass line.
Exactly. And the aesthetic has shifted right along with it. We've moved away from those powerhouse vocals, think of Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey, where the sheer athletic impressiveness of the voice was the whole point.
Right, the big belters.
Yeah, we moved from that to what they call 5 vocals.
5 vocals.
Breathiness, emotional subtlety, being distinctive matters more than range. And that just suits the solo bedroom pop producer aesthetic much better than a stadium rock band.
Okay, so let's recap this engineering side of the deep dive. We basically have solo acts singing 2-minute songs with no bridges, optimized by AI for maximum rhyme saturation so we don't skip them on TikTok.
Put exactly like that, it sounds a little bit dystopian.
It really does. It feels like we are optimizing the soul completely out of the music.
I get that feeling, I really do. But I think it's important to remember that artists have always adapted to the medium.
That's fair.
Songs were 3 minutes long in the 1950s because that is what physically fit on a 7-inch vinyl record.
Oh, right.
Now they are 2 minutes long because of Spotify algorithms, The container always shapes the content.
That's a great point. We just adapt to the box we're put in. But here is where the story pivots for me. Because if the sound is changing because of technology, the way we actually value and own the music is changing even faster.
Yeah.
And this is where we get into the blockchain stuff from the Zonix report.
Right. Now, I know when people hear crypto or NFTs, there's this massive tendency to just roll your eyes because of all of the scams and the crazy hype cycle we lived through a few years ago.
Totally.
But we really need to separate the hype from the actual utility here.
Yeah.
Because the report we looked at, from stream to token, it highlights a massive, deeply boring problem in the music business that actually needs solving.
The plumbing of the industry.
The plumbing is completely broken.
Yeah.
Let's say you are a songwriter and your song gets played on the radio in France or maybe streamed in Brazil.
Okay.
It can take months or literally even years for that royalty money to find its way back to your bank account.
And it passes through a dozen hands.
Exactly. Labels, publishers, collection societies, foreign rights organizations. Everyone takes a sliver of the pie, and the data is often super messy. You might lose 20 to 30% of your money just in administrative fees and errors.
Wow.
So the proposed solution here is tokenization using smart contracts.
Let's break down smart contract for a second so everyone listening gets it. Because this isn't a paper contract you sign with a pen.
No. Think of a smart contract like a vending machine.
Okay.
In a vending machine, the logic is hard-coded into it. If money equals $2 and selection equals C4, then release the candy bar.
Right.
No shopkeeper needs to be standing there to make that decision. A smart contract is the exact same thing. It is code on the blockchain that says if a revenue event happens, like a stream, then split the money 50-50 and send it to these two digital wallets instantly.
So it completely cuts out the middleman and that ridiculous 6-month delay.
Instantly.
Yeah.
You literally get paid while you sleep. And this isn't just theoretical anymore either. We saw some wild numbers in the research today.
Yeah, the 3LAU example.
Right, 3LAU, the electronic artist, he sold his album Ultraviolet as a collection of NFTs, and he generated $11.6 million.
$11.6 million directly from his fans. That is more than most artists make in a lifetime of streaming.
Easily. And then you have Nas,
Yeah.
a legitimate hip-hop legend.
Right.
He partnered with a platform called Royal to let fans buy tokens that represented actual shares of the streaming royalties for his songs.
See, this is the part that completely blows my mind. Because you aren't just buying a souvenir or a t-shirt at a concert anymore, you are buying an asset.
Yes.
You literally own a piece of the track you're listening to.
It completely shifts you from being a fan to being an investor.
Yeah.
And think about the psychology of that for a second. If you own 0.001% of a song's royalties, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm going to stream it on repeat all day. I'm going to tell all my friends to listen to it. I'll put it on every playlist I have.
Right.
I have a direct financial incentive for that song to succeed.
Exactly. You basically become the marketing team.
Yeah.
It aligns the incentives of the artist and the audience
Yeah.
in a way you just haven't seen before. It is true fractional ownership.
It sounds great in theory, but I have to play devil's advocate here. Isn't this risky for the average person? We've seen crypto values absolutely crash. Could a fan lose their money? Oh, absolutely. It introduces a ton of volatility. If you bought a share of a song thinking it was going to be the next Thriller and it completely flops, your token is basically worthless.
Right.
And there is a lot of regulatory uncertainty right now about whether these tokens count as securities, like traditional stocks.
Yeah.
So it is very much the Wild West.
Yeah.
But for the artist, it offers a way to raise capital without signing your life away to a major label. I mean, if you can raise $500,000 directly from your fan base, do you even need the record deal? Maybe not.
So we have AI optimizing the actual song structure and the blockchain rewriting the entire business model.
Yeah.
Which all feels very cool to me. Very data-driven, which is why I really wanted to talk about this interview with Kevin Liles.
Yes, this was such a breath of fresh air in the research stack today.
It really was. And for anyone listening who doesn't know, Kevin Liles is an absolute titan in the industry.
A legend.
He was president of Def Jam, then CEO of 300 Entertainment, and he eventually sold 300 Entertainment to Warner Music for $400 million. Right.
But despite being this massive corporate success story, his whole philosophy is completely different from the Moneyball approach we were just talking about.
Liles is fascinating because he pushes back super hard against the purely data-driven. He talks constantly about cultural incentives and financial goals.
Yeah.
Even after selling to a major corporation, he insists on keeping an independent mindset with major muscle. That's his whole thing.
He had this great line about how you can't just follow the numbers, you have to actually understand the culture. I mean, he worked with artists like Gunna, Megan Thee Stallion, Young Thug,
Right.
and he says the goal isn't just to engineer a viral moment, it's to find and develop a culture-shifting artist.
And that is a crucial distinction right there.
Yeah.
A viral moment is a sugar rush. It peaks and it crashes.
Yeah.
A culture-shifting artist is a whole career. The detail from that interview that I absolutely loved, and I think it perfectly illustrates his whole point, is the thing about Young Thug.
The Chief Innovation Officer.
Yes. Which just sounds like a vanity title, right?
Totally.
Like something you just give a celebrity to keep them happy in the building.
Right.
But Lyles was entirely serious.
Yeah.
Young Thug was effectively the Chief Innovation Officer at 300 Entertainment. Lyles would literally run corporate ideas by him just to see if they passed the smell test.
I love the image of it so much. Like, you have a boardroom full of executives looking at spreadsheets of rhyme saturation and skip rates, and Kevin Lyles just stops the whole meeting and says, hold on, let me call Thugger and see if this is actually cool.
Whatever.
But it is brilliant. Lyles made a really strong point that the C-suite, the executives making the big decisions, needs to look like the culture they're selling.
Yeah.
He was very vocal about diversity. He emphasizes that you cannot maximize the potential of hip-hop if the people making the decisions don't understand the lived experience of the artists themselves.
Right.
If you're just looking at data, you're going to miss the next movement because the data only tells you what has happened, not what is about to happen. That is the friction right there, isn't it? The friction between the AI optimizing for the golden minute based on past hits and the human element, the Chief Innovation Officer, trying to do something weird and genuinely new.
And that friction leads us right to the biggest question we started with today. If we have all this technology, all this optimization, and all this access to music, why does everything feel so samey?
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen a massive burn-it-all-down revolution like punk or disco or grunge in the last 15 years?
This is the death of the monoculture.
Correct. The answer isn't that modern music is worse. The answer is that the audience is just too fragmented to sustain a revolution anymore. We pulled some data from Luminate that is just staggering. Do you know how many tracks are uploaded to streaming services per day right now?
I know it's a massive number, maybe 20,000.
Try 112,000.
112,000 tracks a day.
Every single day. That is the fire hose we are drinking from. The sheer volume is completely overwhelming. And because of that volume, listening habits are incredibly concentrated. Less than 1% of artists account for 90% of global streams.
That's insane.
Everyone else is literally fighting for crumbs.
But for the listener, this fragmentation means we all basically live in our own bubbles now.
This is the key. In the 90s, you had clear channel homogenization.
Right.
A few powerful program directors decided exactly what played on every radio station in America.
Yeah.
You couldn't escape Smells Like Teen Spirit. You couldn't escape Baby One More Time. It forced a shared mainstream experience.
Now we have algorithmic homogenization.
Right, because if I like 90s shoegaze music, Spotify and TikTok are just going to feed me more 90s shoegaze. I am in a comfortable, personalized loop. I never hear the dangerous new thing because the algorithm knows that.
That is such a profound point. To have a real counterculture revolution, you have to have a mainstream concept to rebel against in the first place. You need the man. But if the man is just a digital mirror showing me exactly what I want to see, where is the rebellion?
Exactly. You just can't rebel against a playlist that was made specifically for you. So instead of one massive wave like grunge, we have a million tiny ripples, we have micro genres. You might be deep into hyperpop or cottagecore, and your neighbor has literally never even heard of it.
Yeah.
You're both big music fans, but you inhabit totally different worlds.
So the era of the global superstar like that Michael Jackson level of fame might just be over.
The Anglo-American export model, where the US and the UK send their pop stars out to conquer the globe, is definitely fading. But there's a really nice silver lining here.
Okay.
While the global monoculture is dying, local ecosystems are absolutely exploding.
We saw that in the data on Brazil, right?
Yes. Brazil is such a fascinating case study. Brazilian music listeners are incredibly passionate. They spend about 80% of the US average on music per month, which is very high relative to income. But the really interesting stat is that over 50% of that spend goes directly to live events.
They want the actual experience. They want to be in the room.
They want the real thing. And importantly, they are listening to Brazilian artists. The real growth in the music industry isn't coming from Taylor Swift conquering new territories anymore. It's coming from emerging markets like Brazil, India, and Nigeria, dominating their own regions.
Wow.
With their own stars, singing in their own languages.
So, while we might not see a global revolution anytime soon, we are seeing these massive, vibrant local scenes that, frankly, don't need U.S. approval to succeed.
Which is a much healthier ecosystem in the long run. It's less centralized, it's more diverse. It's just a lot harder to see from the outside looking in.
Man. So let's try and wrap our heads around all of this, because it really feels like we're in this weird transition period between two totally different worlds.
We really are.
We have moved from a world of bands and bridges to a world of solo acts, vibes, and golden minutes optimized by AI. We are transitioning from buying physical CDs to potentially owning royalty tokens on a blockchain as an investment. And we've gone from a singular mainstream culture where everyone watched the exact same MTV countdown to a million fractured algorithmic realities.
The incentives have changed, the technology has changed, and the way we consume the art has fundamentally changed. It makes perfect sense that the music feels different to you. It is different.
It really leaves me with a lingering question, though, and this is something for everyone listening to think about as we wrap up today.
Okay.
If 112,000 songs are uploaded every single day, and the computer is only showing us what we already agree with, is it even possible for a song to truly shock the culture anymore? Or did we just trade the possibility of a musical revolution for the comfort of a perfectly curated playlist?
Comfort versus revolution. As long as we prioritize the algorithm over the chief innovation officer, the human element, the glitch, the mistake, I think we might be stuck in the comfort zone for a while.
A little scary, but definitely something to think about the next time you're mindlessly skipping through Spotify. We will leave it right there. Thanks for deep diving with us today.
Take care, everyone.